Justin asked, did you lose or have to push away lots of friends to get where you are? Uh, there's an implication in that, like you have
It's a
to,
deep one. It's a deep
yeah, like you
question.
have to push people aside to become successful. And I think the answer to that is no. You don't have to push people aside in some awful
No,
negative
that's a
way.
no.
I do think that there is, we've talked about this a lot, which is
Hmm.
the lifestyle of someone who is going to be making records in any capacity takes a kind of commitment that a lot of people don't really understand. And you are going to sacrifice parts of your life, most likely, if you are going to become extremely successful. And it doesn't mean that everybody has to go be top of the heap, A
Yeah.
level, whatever you're trying to do. There's lots of ways to make music, and I am a promoter of everybody just making music because making music is awesome. You don't have to be an A level mix engineer or producer or whatever. But in order to do that, almost everybody I know has, their relationships have changed dramatically, where people that they were friends with early on are just not the same part of their lives. And it's something I think about a lot, and
Yeah. I
I
don't know
don't
how
know
to
if there's a
answer this
good
in
answer.
6 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a good answer for it.
But I like your first answer. You're not pushing it. You're not pushing people away. It's not a. It might
I
be a
just
natural byproduct of the career path choice, but you're not. You should not be actively throwing humans out of your life.
Yeah, you all said on there, if your friends understand the passion of music, then they'll respect you in your journey. I think that's largely true as well. That if you're going to do something like this, it takes some understanding from friends of yours. But
I can tell a
if they,
story that
please,
might shine some light on it because the
please,
stories seem to help with someone that is the friend, the type of friend that would have respected. At the time, it's like 6, 7 years ago before I moved into my new space. No, maybe I was in the new space. I don't remember. My friend Doug, he lives in Nashville. Love Doug. He was moving to Nashville and he was having a going away party um, at some place in Los Feliz. I kind of forget the name of the place. And he invited me, and I wrote that I was in a session, making a long story really short. And his response was, "Your life is one big session." And it made me cry. And I somehow found a way to get there by the end of the night. I wound up having like a glass of wine or something there, and wound up making it. But it put about 10 years prior to that into perspective of I used to get invited places and people would just stop inviting me. Not that they didn't want me to be there. They were just like, he always says no. So like,
yep.
why am I going to invite this human if he just keeps rejecting my invites? I would say to those humans that I wanted to be there, but I also really wanted to get good at something because if I didn't, like, I don't know how to create some sort of path towards stability
Yeah.
that I was seeking out. Right. So um, it was tough. I mean, you definitely lose friends, but I don't think you lose friends in a negative sense. It's just, um, it's not like people were hurt or, trying to hurt me by not being my friend anymore. It just was a natural um, fall of the leaves, I guess.
I think it is the case that a lot of the infrastructure built into how people socialize, things like happy hour after work. If you're a record
Mm,
maker, those are just not going to be a part of your
that's
life.
tough.
And that's a
Yeah.
and that's a big part of how people go get drinks after work, get from 5 to 7 when there's half price whatever after their job, and you socialize with your coworkers for a
Yeah.
minute. There's socializing before and after sessions and all and that sort of thing, but you're just not gonna you're not gonna have that kind of rhythm with people. And that will definitely eliminate certain people from your life just because you have different schedules and different things going on. And
Yeah.
I say this periodically where I used to live in a house in West Hollywood that was right by the Soho House, and and a bunch of restaurants around there. And Chris Wallace and I, who were doing everything together at the time, whenever we had a session, we'd always take a break at some point in the evening and go get food. And periodically we'd go out and be like, whoa, everything's really busy. What's going on? And then we'd realize it was a Friday or Saturday night because we didn't know what day it was because we were just at the studio all the time. And just the realization of like, oh, we're doing something different than the rest of the world. It's just always an interesting reminder that, and it cause us to reevaluate and then confirm every time that, yeah, this is what we want to be doing. I'd rather be making records and not know that it's a Friday night and then show up to the falafel place down the street or the Soho House and be like,
Yeah.
why can't we get a table? Oh, because it's a Friday, because this is the day that normal people are done for the week, but we get to go back to the studio, and then tomorrow we get to go make records, and then next Wednesday, if we need to take a break, we'll take the whole day off. I mean, I'd rather have that life.
I would just add that at some point, everyone can check out David White on Ambition. At some point, that script has to flip, and priorities, of relationships and health and other things, I think become more important. So I'm trying to get to that chapter of life a little bit earlier than I would have thought I would have. Right. So at some point, the work gets old. The connections become way more important.
Yes.
And
yes.
so I understand it in your teens, 20s, even early 30s, that like where I'm at, you're still trying to solidify a position in your field. And it's hard to do that as a freelancer. It's hard to do that as a creative. So there has to be some sort of priority there for a certain amount of time, but always realize that has to shift at some point, or you'll just probably be alone, or mostly alone at some point.
Yeah. Well, and man, we're almost at an hour.
That's why that's why it's hard to answer.
Maybe we save some for next week.
Minutes.
I also think maybe I'll just leave people with this and leave you with this, that I think there's also a difference between having an abnormal schedule and like a schedule that doesn't fit in within the scaffolding and the parameters of most people's 9-to-5 lives. So you can have a schedule that's different than that, but that ultimately isn't just workaholic work all the time. Because it can be, and then there's the challenge of how you have to find other people with that sort of flexibility in their lives. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Which I'm down to have.
I think so too. I would love that.